Hey everyone, it's GigaDB, and I'm going to show off the log skip and how to do it. So, what you're doing for the trick is you are skipping these logs over here. And the way you're going to do this is you're going to enter this loading zone from a really skewed angle and fall out of bounds as soon as you enter, and then fall to the right of the logs. That is what your goal is. In order to do that, we use something called loading zone storage, which is basically when you touch a loading zone for one frame and then get away from it. This allows you to enter a loading zone from weird angles, since you can still like you can enter a loading zone, you can just touch it and then move away from it, and you can enter it from like over here. But the trick is like you can only touch it for one frame, and then you can't be touching the ground for more than one frame after that. So, the first way we thought we could do log skip, which was very hard, was you would just jump into this loading zone and then jump away from it with frame perfect jumps. Obviously, this is not very plausible because frame perfect jumps are very difficult to execute. You need to get like all the way over here, and then that would let you be skewed enough for entry. But we found out that you can do it by staying out of bounds. So the way you're going to do this is you're going to want to do Ralph clip. So what you want to do Ralph clip is you just want to go up here when it falls and hold left. From here, you're going to do 2 full jumps, hammer, and then jump, all while holding left. So, like this. And now I'm out. So now, the second part that you want to do is you want to line up here, like I usually cue it with the sign in the background by Merlon's house. Like, line up with that mushroom is a good cue for me. And for the next part is we're going to, the first part of the trick is actually storing the loading zone. So this part is actually pretty much the hardest part, and I'll try to explain what to do first. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be walking off this ledge right here, and then I'm going to be holding an angle that is slightly down from down right. You'll be able to see on my inputs that I don't start holding it right away. This is purely up to whatever you want to do. I tend to just hold completely down right at first, and then I switch to an angle that's slightly down or down right because it's easier to get to that angle from down right. You'll see what I mean when I start doing it. And then once you reset, you're going to want to switch to upright. I like to slide the control stick to upright. I don't know if this makes a totally a difference or not, but that's what I like to do. And I guess that should, and then you could see that you store the loading zone if the game lags, but this is not necessarily always the case because you can store it without lagging the game. Generally, you can base it off of how fast you're going out of bounds. If you're going at a decent pace but the game doesn't lag, then you can be pretty sure that you still stored it. But that's not always the case. We're still not completely sure what it looks like. But one thing is for sure, that if you lag the game, you pretty much have the loading zone stored. So once you see that you have it stored after holding upright for a little bit, you're going to want to switch to left or down to buffer your next input, or just like you can just like you don't have to do this for very long, but you can like stay holding down or left until you feel that you're ready to do the next part of the trick. All right, so now I'm gonna get to that I'm gonna get to buffering, like my the next part of the trick. I'm gonna store the loading zone. Let's go. So I switched a little bit to down right, and now slide to upright. So I lagged a little bit, and that's how I know I have loading zone storage. And now I'm holding down, and this, I can do this forever if I wanted to, but this is generally how you want to like keep it for, this is like keeping the loading zone, you can think of it, for the next part. So now for the next part of the trick, your goal is to get far enough away from the actual loading zone while remaining out of bounds, and then clipping back in bounds to have loading zone take you. Now, from here, what you want to do is you want to pretty much switch to up an angle that's slightly left from up left. As soon as you see Mario spawning at the top. So pretty much when the camera moves, you want to switch. And then right after that, what you want to do is you want to switch your control stick from that angle and slide it to upright. It can work if you don't slide it, but sliding it to upright is the best way to do it. So now I will show off the last part. Oh, okay. So what happened there is I didn't switch to upright at all, and also what happened, I didn't even get a chance to do that. But what happened there was, I was holding too much up from the up left. And what happens there is the loading zone takes you early, and you don't clip. So, I guess it's good to see all the mistakes, or like what the mistakes look like, so you know what you're doing. So there's good because I saw the boost, but that's not good because I didn't start holding down, and I just hit the loading zone. So, just gonna keep trying it. Yeah, you can go too fast for the first part and hit the loading zone. Unfortunately, that would probably waste the most time, besides having a bad angle for the second half of the trick. Alright, the game lagged a bit. Alright, so that's what a successful log skip looks like. As you can see, I was holding an angle slightly left of up left, and then when I saw Mario spawning, I slid the control stick to up right. And that's how you do the log skip. One thing to notice though, is you can actually see when you have bad angles for the second half. And generally you can tell if you don't store the loading zone, especially if you're going too slow. So I'm gonna show what that looks like, I guess. And then I'm gonna show what more successful log skips look like. Alright, so I'm gonna hold an angle that's 2 down from down right. And as you can see, Mario is not going nearly fast enough to hit the loading zone. You can also hold an angle that's a little bit too right, but you can still get the trick from this. I can try to show what it looks like, but it's hard to get perfectly. Okay, so like that. You can get the trick, but you have to make sure you hold down a lot easier. Like a lot faster, what am I saying? Not easier. So, yeah. And the last thing that can go wrong is when you're switching to up left, if you're holding to left like here, and then you switch to up right. Oh, well, that one was 2 left, but what happens is like the game doesn't like, it like sort of lags a bit, like not really lagging, it sort of looks like the camera is going farther than it should have, and that's when you don't have, and that's when you have a bad angle. But generally, if you have a fast switch to upright, it'll work. So I'm just gonna show it off, I guess, more. Okay. I kind of want to show what a bad angle looks like there. Maybe if I just hold barely up left. And then that'll conclude this. Okay. So there, my angle's too much down right, and I switched to upright too fast. Okay, so let's go like here. So let's see, like the camera like stops there. That's how you know you had a bad angle. And when you see that for the last part, you can actually just buffer it down like I'm doing now, and still, because I know I have loading zone stored because it lagged. So this is very helpful. So like if you see that you did a bad angle, you only have to do half the trick instead of the whole trick again. And as you saw before, if I'm holding too much up left, so if I'm holding up left the entire time, I'm just gonna hit the loading zone like that. And then I'm gonna fail the trick. But anyway, that's how you do lock skip. So I hope this helps someone. If you need the written version, please check out Anatomy's lock skip description of it. You should probably start there first if you haven't already. And I hope this helps people. Alright, peace.